Frank, please.
I think your proposal would be more acceptable if we went back to the system in the first election for chief executive, which is there were 2 rounds of election by secret ballot. I think the nomination should also be by secret ballot, in which case I think your proposal would be acceptable. What do you think of going back to secret ballot nominations?
I think it should be secret ballot. You know, the basic law says democratic procedures. So, and I would assume democratic procedures would involve every person having the equal votes and voting by secret ballot. That's my assumption. Well, it should be up for discussion. You know.
Back in the corner, please. Oh, you first.
Gavin McDougall from Star Group. You talk about lowering the threshold to 10%, but making it a requirement across all 4 sectors. Does this not perhaps, in fact, expand the circle for the rejection of candidates rather than getting candidates who perhaps broadly represent the wider community?
But you see, after you satisfy this procedure, the way is clear for the candidates to come forward for election by universal suffrage, which is a major change. You know? It's a major step forward. In fact, I noticed from a newspaper cutting, Ming Pao of 2004, April 30, a group of pro-democracy scholars have a similar suggestion, requiring a chief executive candidate to get 5% votes from each of the 3 sections, but 7.5% votes from the last section, which must include 15 legislators. That was 2004, and the proponents were Reverend Zhu Yuming, you know, and Professor Ma Ngok and other pro-democracy scholars. You know. So I'm not alone in putting forward this sort of suggestion. And you have to bear in mind, we have to devise a system which satisfy the requirements of the basic law.
Back to the window.
Guy Newey from Agence France. You said in your speech that your proposals have a much stronger chance of being accepted by Beijing than the pan-democrats. What indications have you had from Beijing in support of your proposals?
I have no indications whatsoever.
So how do you know they've got a better chance of being accepted?
I haven't even started talking to mainland officials about my proposals. I have been trying to promote them to various chambers of commerce and industry associations. I am hopeful and confident because I make an effort to comply with the basic law. You know, I try my best to take into account basic law principles and provisions. The best way to persuade the authorities in Beijing is to convince them that my proposals are grounded in our constitution.
You haven't had any indications from Beijing?
Not yet. I haven't started lobbying them yet.
As part of China, do you think your proposal to open up democratizing Hong Kong more could be a model for China that has, after liberalizing its economy, has kind of include more kind of the population in the decision-making process, that your model could be also a model from the mainland medium term?
I would certainly hope that Hong Kong would be a good role model of democracy for China. You know, I personally don't think Taiwan is a good role model where Chinese leaders are concerned. But of course, the situation in China is very different. Mainland China is very different from those in Hong Kong. They are not urbanized and industrialized like we are. They don't have as big a middle class. The education standard is much more patchy. And according to democracy scholars of the West, you benefit if you have a Judeo-Christian tradition. Mainland China has more of a much stronger Confucian tradition. And a lot of scholars like to talk about the correlation between economic development and democratic development. If your GDP per capita is 2,000 US, you start becoming free. That's our theory. I'm sure you're aware of it. But the trouble with mainland China is the, say, 2,500 nationwide per capita GDP masks wide regional disparity. So I think for China to democratize is much harder. But Hong Kong can do it. The preconditions are there. The last final hurdle is to devise proposals that comply with the basic law and acceptable to Hong Kong's business community as well as the authorities in Beijing.